Hi, I'm Vivian. I'm a freshman at Valdosta High School, and a quote that I like that Kelly said was, "Stop trying to get God to love you and start living because you know you are so recklessly and extravagantly loved by God."
Hey, I'm Rachel. Something that I learned this week is to keep God on the throne of my heart.
Hi, my name is Bennett Alvarado. I'm a freshman at Valor, and this weekend I learned that as you go through your life, instead of just listening to the word, you need to put it into action and carry out those actions that God wants you to carry out.
One thing I learned is that there's two groups, the us and them group, and it's kind of like coffee. You don't want cold coffee. You want cold coffee or you want warm coffee. You don't want in between. And that's kind of like the us and them group. You don't want to be in between us and them.
This weekend I learned that once you say something positive or negative, you can't take it back. Just like toothpaste. Once you squirt it, you can't put it back in the tube.
This weekend I learned that no matter how far we dig into sin, that Jesus is always with us. And I think everybody needs to be reminded that.
Amen. Thank you guys for doing that. Hey, good morning, everybody. Hey, my name is Thomas Wade. I am now the student pastor here at FBC Valdosta. Thank you. Hey, I'm so excited to be here with you all. I'm even more excited about everything that happened this weekend. Our D Now, it was a great weekend. This was my wife and I rolled up here on Thursday night, rolled in right for the group leader meeting, and then we woke up Friday morning and we just went. And we were just here for this, and it was such an amazing experience. We were so excited for all the energy. Thank you all so much, church, for just all that you did to help put this on. Thank you for the way that you've just been so faithful over the years. I am just blown away. I know that even stepping into this right now, I know that none of this would have been possible without you all. So thank you all for your prayers this past weekend. Thank you all for the giving that you all have done. Thank you for your support in any way. Thank you for all of our volunteers that helped. Hey, if you guys see anybody, if you know anybody that was a host home this weekend, that they were somebody that took in some of those groups, you need to love on them, especially for giving up their home to some of these guys. I know some of them, they were good. I know some of them, they may have not taken a shower at all this weekend. So just show them love in that way. If you're a small group leader this weekend, would you all stand up? You guys absolutely killed it. Thank you all so much. Please give them a hand. These small group leaders, they did a great job leading in Bible studies, leading them in games, just being around with them, keeping up with them, making sure they got to where they needed to go. They did absolutely amazing. So thank you all so much for doing that. It was so good. Thank you to our bands who did so great. Matt Mullis, his crew, you guys were absolutely amazing. Thank you all for leading us each time. Right now, I'm here to introduce our speaker that was here this past weekend. I know that some of you all may already know him. He's kind of a celebrity around here in Valdosta. He's done so much for the community. I know he loves to come back here, and I know that just talking to him, that moving away kind of broke his heart. Although he and I have a special connection, he's a good Kentucky boy like I am. Yeah, so I know he's a good man. So I want to invite Kelly Barkle on up to the stage to get on up here and bring the word for us.
Thank you. All right. Good morning. Man, I couldn't help as I sat over there and we were singing and we've got the band and the music's a little loud and all that. I couldn't help but think about my kind of Christian experience over the past 32 years. And it reminded me that 32 years ago, I was in a little bitty inner city church, and we had a little old lady on the organ, and we had a bald-headed, big, heavy-set guy in the middle with a microphone singing, and we were just singing, power, 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 power in the blood, and he walks with me, and he talks with me, and I couldn't help but think, and man, I hope you're listening to this, I couldn't help but think, when I was 18 years old, like 32 years ago, and I was singing power in the blood and the name of Jesus, that I was just as passionate then as I was when we were singing these songs today. And listen, if you weren't, I don't think it has anything to do with what just happened on this stage. I think we might need to check ourselves. And here's what's awesome. Man, what a church. Oh, my Lord. You guys, you may not even, see, a lot of times when you are in it, you don't even realize it. But I'm telling you, I was in Valdosta for 16 years, and I told people all weekend, you as a church, you have more potential of the movement of God in this city than any church that's here. And I've been in all of them. I talked in most of them. I've been a lot. And I'm telling you, I hope that you will lean into the presence of God. That you'll lean into the presence of God. And those of you, this is kind of funny. I can say this now that I'm 51. I can say this. Those of you who are my age and older, come on, that doesn't even sound good. Those of you who are my age and older, listen, you can fan this flame. How awesome would it be if these kids who were just singing at the top of their lungs and just praising God, how awesome would it be if 30 years from now, they're sitting where you're sitting and their kids are sitting here and the whole church is singing and praising God with that passion. You've got the ability to fan that flame. So this past week, as I kind of sat down and I was finalizing the messages and we got to this talk number 4, I started to dive right in because I kind of already knew all the directions that I wanted to go in. And so I started to dive in. I did 1 and did the outline, emailed it off. 2, outline, emailed it off. 3, outline, emailed it off. And got to 4 and I stopped and I thought, all right, before I do this, let me pray one more time. And so I just kind of sat back and I closed my eyes and I said, all right, God, what's day number 4 look like? Does it look like what kind of we've already talked about, what we've already got on paper and prepared? If not, just tell me something. And I just closed my eyes and I'm telling you, as soon as I said that, as soon as I asked that prayer, God said, parents. And I said, parents? What do you mean parents? And I just felt like God said, Kelly, you're preaching to the kids Friday night. You're preaching to the kids Saturday morning. You're preaching to the kids Saturday night. Talk to the parents. The parents, we're all here. And so when I started thinking about, all right, God, the parents. I mean, I've done like 100 of these D-Nows. Like, why didn't you tell me that a long time ago? Because that makes sense, right? I mean, we got everybody here. And so I don't know if you noticed, but when you came in, there was a little popcorn machine out there. And how many of you at Christmas time, and listen, I tried to find this yesterday and I couldn't find it anywhere, but at Christmas time, there's that tin of popcorn. And it's got all 3 popcorns in it. You know, one of them is the caramel popcorn. I don't know about you, but that's my personal favorite, caramel popcorn. And then also is the cheese popcorn. Now, I really like this one when I found it because it says ridiculously cheesy. And that's going to go really good with this message this morning. And so we have the cheese popcorn in that tin. And then you also have the butter popcorn in that tin. Now, just as a little kind of show of hands, take a little poll this morning. When you get this tin at Christmas time, all right, if you were to get this tin at Christmas time, just a little poll, so be interactive here. Raise your hand. Which one would be gone first? If it was yours, if the caramel would be gone first, raise your hand. Oh, yeah, a lot of sweet too. Man, that stuff sticks to your teeth, sticks to the roof of your mouth. Sometimes it's on your finger and it's sticking. How many of the cheese popcorn will be gone first? Well, cheese ones get excited. and how many of you just kind of, you just like it plain? How many the butter be gone first? All so kind of within the room, we got a lot of them gone. And so this morning, as you think about the 3 flavors of popcorn in that Christmas tin that you get every year at Christmas time, I think it also relates to 3 different parenting styles. 3 different parenting styles. One parenting style is the caramel crunch, the caramel parenting style. Now, as you can probably imagine, a caramel popcorn parent is sticky. A caramel popcorn parent is sticky. I mean, you stick so close to your kids that they're never away from you. I mean, even on Sunday mornings, you're afraid to let them go to children's church because you got to stick with them. We're sticking together through it all. The caramel popcorn parent, they stick to our kids so tightly, and this is the deal that we get in. We stick to our kids so tightly that we stick to our kids more than we stick to our spouse. And the roles kind of get a little mixed up. You don't even go on date nights because you say, well, we can't go on a date until our kids are 19 years old. Oh, Lord, help you. You're sticking too tight. And so you're so sticky that your marriage gets stuck in a rut. We're often stuck spiritually. And oftentimes we're so sticky with our kids that we don't go to church because we stick with them wherever they want to go on Sunday morning. Whatever they want to do. Well, my kids have to stick with me. We have to stick with me. We only have 18 years. And I want to ask you, are you a caramel popcorn parent? Are you a caramel popcorn parent? These parents usually end up giving all of themselves to their kids, and then the leftovers go to God. And the leftovers go to their spouse. Caramel popcorn parent. Maybe we have some cheese favorites. Maybe you're a ridiculously cheesy popcorn parent. Now, here's the trouble with the cheesy popcorn parent. There are parents who are so cheesy that they're the only people who don't realize how cheesy they are. All of your friends see it. They're saying it behind your back. The cheesy parents, you know what? My deal is I want to be liked. I want to be liked. I want my kids to like me. And that's what parenting is all about. Parenting is all about being liked. I want to be my child's best friend. I want to be their peer. I want to be their homeboy, their homegirl. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about? This is the 40-something-year-old mom who still dresses like a 2020 teenager. Crop top. That's it. You know. They're still making cool comments on Instagram and Facebook using emojis and abbreviations. OMG, TMM, LOL. The cheesy popcorn parents, just over the top. Over the top. They'll do anything to look cool and sound cool to their kids. The old saying is true. It ain't easy being cheesy. And if you're a cheese popcorn parent, listen, it will flat wear you out. Because you're trying to be someone that you're not, that God didn't create you to be. Caramel parents are sticky to cheese parents are cheesy. And then we got the butter flavored popcorn parents. Now, I don't know about you, but it don't matter what kind of diet I'm on. I don't care if it's paleo, zone, keto, Rito, I don't care what it is. When I go to the movie theater and they give me that box of popcorn, they do that little butter thing. One more round. I want some butter on my popcorn. I came out of one time I didn't get the box, the round thing, you know? And I've learned I'll never do that again because the round thing protects you. One time I got like the medium. And no, put some butter on that thing. And so they put all that butter on there, and I went in. Well, I had the movie, and that thing was gone before the movie even came on. I mean, you got 40 minutes of previews. And I thought, man, that was good. But when I went outside and I was walking, and my wife was like, what'd you do? Big oil spot all over. It's still there today. You can't get that stuff out. How about the buttered popcorn parents? The buttered popcorn parents is the one who, we don't know our roles. We don't know our roles. The roles kind of get mixed up. The roles are slippery and greasy. And because we're a kind of buttery popcorn parent, we just allow the kids to get away with whatever they do. We just let them slide, let it slide, so there's no consequences, there's no punishments. There's nothing that goes on that happens to take it away. These parents have bought into the lie that says everybody in the family unit is equal. It's a democracy. Y'all want to know where we're going to go to eat? Let's vote. You're the leader. The roles get mixed up, and eventually, like when you allow them to slide and slip away with everything, eventually they think they're the ones in charge. The kids are not the leader, but Kelly, I want to be liked. I want to be liked. Listen, you're going to be liked. It's just maybe not immediately, but eventually you're going to be liked. There's consequences. I know that once you start eating one of these flavored popcorns, it's hard to stop. I don't know about you, but Christmas time, I get that thing and the caramel is gone. The caramel is gone. And for me, the butter, that's second. It's like day 2, gone. Day 3, the cheese. Day 4, I'm like, we just got one? And it's the same way with this parenting styles. Once you get going, it's hard to stop. Parenting, though, it's work. But it's worth the work. It's worth the effort. Great marriages, great families, they're built on hard work. So listen, God has a popcorn recipe that I think he would love for all of us to follow, all of us who are parents now, and for grandparents too, and for those of you who aren't parents, but one day you're going to be parents. God has a recipe for our marriage and our family that's going to make our kids pop. Come on, you get that? It's going to make them pop with integrity. It's going to make them pop with character. So let's think about it for a second. What kind of parents will make our kids pop? Because kids are like kernels. Kids are like kernels, and without just a little bit of oil, they're going to break you. You ever bit into one of them kernels and like you got to go see the dentist? You got to have a little oil. You take the kernel, though, and you put just the right amount of oil on it, and you've got something special. The Bible talks a lot about oil all through the Old Testament and through the New Testament. And we're going to call this oil. It's the personal relationship that we have with Jesus. The oil is the life that your kids see you live. The oil on this popcorn parenting is the life that your kids see you live. 2 Corinthians 6, 3 and 4 says, we live in such a way that no one will stumble because of us, and no one will find fault with our ministry. In everything we do, we show that we are true ministers of God. We patiently endure troubles and hardships and calamities of every time. Parents, your number one ministry is your family. Your number one ministry is the people inside your house. So let me suggest that you do not leave the discipling of your kids up to the church, that you do not leave the discipling of your kids to the youth pastor or the children's pastor. You, parents, are the primary discipler to your kids. You are number one. And the church, the youth, the children's, the ministries, the Young Life, the FCAs, all of that is to support, secondly, what you are doing primarily. Listen, you go home and you say, kids, I'm in charge. I'm in charge. And as long as I'm in charge, we're going to pray together. We're going to read God's word together. We're going to do devotionals together. And we're going to revolve our life around God. God is going to be the center of our life. God's going to be the center of our family. Listen, if your kids have a phone, here's a great requirement for them to keep their phone. We have a lot of rules and regulations for a phone. Here's a great requirement. You might put this in to replace all others, because I think this will save you from all the other things that you would maybe take the phone away for. One of the things you could do is base the phone privilege on, are you spending time with Jesus? Now, I know we don't think, I lean in a little bit. Because we base it on, did you do good? Did you do right? Did you make the grades? What if we base it on, are you spending time with Jesus? Because what if you believe what you really would say to somebody else? And what I know, man, great people in this room, most all of you would say, man, I believe that the power of Jesus Christ inside of someone has the ability, the power to change their life. That with Jesus sitting on the throne of their heart, they'll want to make good decisions. With Jesus sitting on the throne of their heart, they'll hate sin. What if you really believe that and you said, I'm going to base a phone privilege and these other privileges, are you spending time with Jesus or not? Because if they're spending time, if you can lead them and disciple them into spending daily time with God, you know that it's that time in the presence of God that will radically change their life. Not the threat of the punishment or the consequences, and as a parent, like you got those set in place, but what if the presence of God changed their life and their heart more than anything else? Wouldn't it be important that we disciple them, we teach them to sit in the presence of God? And so listen, maybe you don't know this, and so I want to put this up on the screen because there's an app. And this app is called a YouVersion Bible app. A lot of you have it. Raise your hand if you have it. I mean, because I know a lot of you still, so this is familiar. Matter of fact, how many of you have at least one app of any kind on your phone? You have one app of any kind on your phone. This YouVersion Bible app is the number one secular Christian, it doesn't matter, the number one downloaded app in the world. And it's free. It's the number one downloaded app. Now here's what you can do. You can help your child get the YouVersion Bible app on their phone. And you can allow them to choose. There's thousands of devotionals. There's tons for kids. There's tons for youth. There's tons for adults. You can allow them to download it on their phone, and they can choose what they want to do to spend time with God on a daily basis. They can even choose you, and you can see where they're at. Now, that's not to like give them a guilt. You didn't spend no time with Jesus today. No, that may be for you to come in and say, hey, I noticed you had a rough week. It looks like you didn't. Let's do it together. So I had to throw this up here today so that you can look at this. Matter of fact, you can put everybody in a family in one group. My last year here in Valdosta, I was with a group of 4 guys. So we would meet once a week, and we would all 4 have each other in a group Bible study in our YouVersion Bible app. And so each day when each of the 4 of us read through and we kind of could talk about a highlight that we each got out of the scripture, I would post it. The other 3 people can see what I posted. The other 3 people, they could post something, and I can see what they're posting, and we can all be inspired by each other. How awesome would it be if an entire church had their families in something like this? I think this would radically change your family, and it would radically change your church, and it would radically change your whole city. Listen, you begin to see the whole family start to pop. The greatest thing that we can give our family is to model and to own our personal relationship with Jesus Christ. You can become a history maker today if you'll stand up and say, listen, I am going to be a person that immerses our family, immerses our marriage in the presence of God. It's going to come first. For some, good popcorn, we need more than just oil. You got to have some heat too, right? You got to have some heat too. And I'm not just talking about heat in the kitchen. Listen, the best thing we can do for our family is to have a hot marriage. All the guys just leaned in quick. The best thing you can do for the marriage is to have a hot marriage. Some of you need to turn up the marital heat. Marital heat is communicated and it's felt by our kids. Our kids need to see us holding hands. Our kids need to see us kiss hello, kiss goodbye. They need to see us hug each other and embrace each other. They need to see us leave the house, get in the car without them, and going off on a date. Listen, do your kids know that your spouse is hot? They need to. And it's important, and it will change the way they function in their married life. The best thing that we can do, the greatest thing that we can do, is to have a hot marriage. And to do that, we've got to work, right? I mean, anybody that's been married more than 7 days knows that it's going to take work. Develop a marital work ethic. Listen, we have to discover what each other's needs are and then work to meet those needs. Because we go into a marriage wanting to have our needs met. But hopefully there's a shift really quick. And the quicker that shift happens, the better the marriage is. But you begin to know that your needs will be met when you focus not on yours, but when you focus on theirs. So what's your spouse's love language? Work to meet your spouse's love language, your spouse's needs. And listen, I'm telling you, it's a biblical principle. If you put them first, listen, you don't even have to think about yours. Yours will begin to be met as well. Guys, listen, the more you turn the heat up in the kitchen, guys, the more you turn the heat up on the stove and the heat up on the dishes and the heat up on the water in the mop, the more she will turn the heat up outside the kitchen. All the ladies said amen. Listen, we have to protect the marriage first while meeting the needs of needy kids second. In Genesis 2:24, it says, "For this reason a man will leave." What is parenting? Teaching our kids, training our kids to leave. Spouses, you stay, kids leave. And then it continues, "For this reason a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife. They will become one flesh." One flesh. The Bible is hot. That's hot. So one more. We'll wrap this up. Time. You've got to have the right time for popcorn, right? I mean, if you take it out too quick, it's hard and crunchy. You leave it in too long, and it burns up. How many of y'all used to have that little thing that you put on the gas stove, and it was a little pan with the tin foil on top? Anybody remember? Man, that was awesome. I used to sit there and just watch that thing get big, and I just let it, smoke started coming out, black stuff. Thank God we didn't have no fire detectors back then. It was just a whole house stank. But listen, quality time emerges out of quantity time. Quality time emerges out of quantity time. I've got to spend enough time with my children that I can see them, that I can study them, that I can know them to such a degree that I can coach them and applaud them and cheer them on and challenge them and give them opportunities to be the best that they possibly can be. Time. We've got to have time with them, and quality time will come out of quantity time. Because sometimes it's easy to make excuses. Well, I don't have quantity time with them, but man, when there's quality time. And I just think our best quality time will come out of some quantity time. Some specific, it's got to be in a schedule. I'm always amazed at how some of the greatest leaders in the business world, I mean, say, "Hey man, can we meet?" And they like, pull out that phone, get out their iPad, get out their computer. Let me look. My God. And we got things scheduled all over the place. And listen, put your family in there. Put your kids in there. If you have multiple kids, put them in there, whether it's once a week, once a month, every other week, whatever it is. Listen, if you don't schedule them, just like your important business that could make you hundreds of dollars and thousands and millions of dollars, you schedule that thing because it's important. Schedule your kids in there. Put them in there. And here's what I encourage you to do. Treat it just like you treat your business, because your business is important. You want that money. You want that bling bling. You want that stuff. And then you got your kids in there, and when somebody calls or something comes up and somebody happens, if the pastor calls or so whatever, and you look in there and you're like, oh, Sally, 3 o'clock. I'm sorry, I got an appointment. Ooh, we don't do that though so often, do we? Like, oh, well, it's just Sally. Oh my goodness, it doesn't sound bad at the time, but when you hear it said out loud, it's like, ooh. Schedule it in. Lack of quality time. Because lack of quality time, we've had a lack of quality time with our kids and our spouse. Many of our families and marriages need some healing. We need healing because we've lacked the oil of living in God's presence and living a God-centered life. We need healing because our marriages have gotten cold. Will you allow God to bring healing to your marriage and healing to your family? This morning I was reading about Solomon and how there was this experience and he wanted to remember that moment, and so he had this stone, this Ebenezer stone, and he went and they named that place Ebenezer, and it was a place that they could always look back to, and I just kind of have that picture this morning, that this would be a morning where something like that happens, that we can actually step into action. We can take an action step. See, Solomon didn't just go on like, oh, this was great, this happened, I hope I remember it, and I'll think about it often. No, he did something. He took a step and he did something so that he would have a memorial, that he would always remember that. And this morning, families, spouses, kids, parents, I'm going to give you an opportunity to step into action and to do something, to wrap your arms around each other, to grab hands with each other, and that this would be a moment that you never, ever forget. This morning, this would be a part of your family's God story. And single moms and single dads, I was raised with a single dad and a grandmother. Let me say a word to you. Listen, our hats go off to you. I know that all of you, pretty sure, work outside the home. And when you come home, you spend every waking moment with your child. And you have a hard time differentiating between your kids' needs and your kids' greeds. It's tough. And let me suggest this to you. And I know this is tough. I hope you just think about it for a moment. I challenge you to think about your own needs. Think about your own needs relationally and your own needs socially and really your own needs spiritually as well. And this may sound strange. This may not sound right. This may go against kind of what your thought process has been. But I would put those needs, your needs, as primary and the relationship with your kids secondary. Now, I know if that don't sink in real quick, just think about it today. Take it to God. Say, Kelly, what are you talking about, man? I'm all they've got. And that's why I'm saying that. Because you're all they've got, and you've got to be healthy emotionally. You've got to be healthy relationally. And you've got to be healthy spiritually. Just like a two-parent family, we've got to put the marriage, in a two-parent family, we put the marriage as the top priority. So in a single family household, listen, because we want the kids to see that, and we want the kids to see us the healthiest person possible, you've got to have relationships outside your home. The spouse isn't there, and so you've got to have friendships that you spend time with, that you give yourself rest in, that you give yourself permission to be with. Just like a marriage household, they have each other and they go out with each other and they put each other first and the kids second.